It works in that people dream themselves into an understanding of what they'd like to look like. They don't program their mind to follow a diet or to follow an exercise routine. They see themselves as the perfect person they want to see themselves at. And the more that they dream that, the more the choices they make during the day reflect that. So they
reflect what they dream. How often do they have to do that?
It would be nice if you could do it every day.
The more often you do it, the better.
Once a day is enough.
Well, okay. 514-790-0991. Star Talk, fascinating subject. Dr. Norman Miller, my guest, McGill University ethics teacher. We're talking about this dream control app. If you have any questions, you can give us a call. You can text us as well, 514-800. You're listening to Tommy Schnurmacher on CJAD.
The Tommy Schnurmacher Show on Montreal's News Talk Leader, CJAD 800.
Dr. Norman Miller, McGill University ethics teacher, and we're talking about dream control apps. When you're doing this, is it possible that when you're seeing yourself asleep to travel to another country, to another continent without going anywhere?
Absolutely. And you can even, if you really get good at it, go to another country and find a little small thing somewhere that only you know, a small artifact. And dream of, its position, its location.
And if you went there, it would actually be there where you dreamt it?
Usually.
So you're traveling there in some form?
In some form.
Have you tested that?
Yeah.
And it worked?
It does work, and I know a lot of people who know that works. But, we don't talk about that commonly. Many of us have these experiences where we recognize something. We have never been there, but we recognize it. And, some people say, well, you experienced that in a previous life. Or it's just you saw a picture of it somewhere. But in many cases, people have already gone there. They've seen it. They come back. Then they go there with their body. And then they say, oh, that's the same thing I saw.
Okay, but on the issue of deja vu, and sometimes when you just get the message, it happened that you saw this, your brain got the message a millionth of a second earlier, so that's why it feels that it's seen it already.
Mm-hmm. Or it could have seen it even before that. And then you're reminded.
How did you get involved in doing this in the first place?
Well, I guess it's just all the things I've dabbled in my life. I learned how to meditate in the 70s, and I took various forms of courses. But really it comes from my desire to teach. I've always been kind of a natural teacher, and my biggest joy has been in teaching university students. And in seeing these young people, I've realized just what issues they need to fill to make themselves complete. In universities, we train people in very, very specific ways, but we don't train them in an understanding of something greater.
For this to work, do you have to believe it's going to work?
The term believe is very difficult to define.
Like if you're skeptical, as you're doing it, you're skeptical about it.
I would say if you're skeptical about it, just do it.
Do it anyway.
Do it anyway, and allow yourself to fight it. Say, oh, this is nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care, but they told me to do it, so I'll try.
Right.
Try that. But, be a little bit persistent. Don't, do it one day and then say, okay, it didn't work.
Didn't work in the first day. What are the signs of success as you do it? You suggested once a night would make sense.
You actually know it in your own unique way. You'd experience those things that you have a desire for, and there's some of them you're not able to articulate exactly. It's being in a place that makes you feel a certain way, and then you're there and you feel good.
Now, you can test it. One of the ways you mentioned, think about something 5 years from now. Can you test it and think of something 24 hours from now?
Sure.
And that'll work too?
If you're good. The brain is really good at fighting you for that short time,
Right.
So, it can throw it in obstacles if you haven't had the experience before.
And how do you get good? Does it take a long time to get good?
I think good is just experiencing it often enough so that you start to trust it.
Thank you so much. A pleasure talking to you. Thanks for coming in. Dr. Norman Miller, McGill University ethics teacher. We're talking about dream control, a fascinating subject. We're going to have you come back another time to talk more about this. And the time right now is 11:30.